Now that I don't live next to a chicken coop, I miss the rooster crow of the morning, Heather. I miss the country. There, I said it.
Well, I love Mentos. There, I said it. Now we're both naked and exposed for speaking our truth.
Speaking of naked and exposed, what is the vibe when your neighbor walks around the block without a shirt on? I mean, it's not offensive, but we aren't exactly at the beach here.
You know you're a real sucker for quail and their jaunty plumes when you almost crash your car to let a family of the adorable motherfuckers cross the road.
Indeed. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome back to Have Such a Good Day, the show that wants you to do just that.
The show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for y'all. You gotta laugh so you don't cry.
That's
How
right.
is everybody doing out there? Are you staying cool? Sarah, you must be kind of melting down there.
Yeah. When you say down there, it means that I am south of you in California, and
Indeed.
yeah, I am melting. We've actually, I don't know. I mean, gosh, weather. Am I right? But yeah, the weather is so erratic around here.
It really
Not
is.
even saying like it's ever cold, because in the summer it isn't, but it's like it's either temperate or it's awfully hot.
I think erratic is the key word. We had a thunderstorm last night that was very erratic. It kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like a wild, very like lots of lightning. Thunder woke me up in the middle of the night. Wasn't expecting it. I was great. I mean, I love a good thunderstorm, but it was definitely
We didn't
erratic.
get any of that. We did have some humidity and some kind of weird, not rain clouds, but like, I was driving around midday. I looked outside and I was like, this is strange for August 14th. But yeah, it's pretty freaking hot. And
really is,
I
yeah.
know, nobody likes other people to complain about weather because it could always be worse. 100% agree with that. But yeah, we're in the dog days of summer and it is hot. It's really hot. I looked at the weather, for on like my iPhone, the weather, which kind of gives you like the next week plus a couple more days of the following week. And I'm like, God,
Yeah.
I might as well just like live in a swimming pool for the rest of my life.
That makes me wonder, do y'all out there get your weather data from somewhere other than your iPhone app or your phone app? I guess some people do watch the Weather Channel. I guess that's a thing still on TV.
Well, the Weather Channel also provides a lot of app data, depending on
I get their pings.
what app you're using, and this and that. But yeah,
They're very
I mean,
sensational, actually. It's like
it's actually kind of funny too. It's like, for example, this morning, like I looked at the weather and I'm like, okay, today high of 90. All right, so I mean, 90 isn't 100, but it's still pretty hot. I'll just plan to sort of be inside, midday.
Yeah.
And then like, ooh, weather goes down to like 78. Ooh, that sounds nice. And then it's like, oh shit, next weekend or next week, not after a week, after this weekend, next week.
Get it
What is
straight,
time,
Sarah.
Heather? What is time? But it's like 95, 96, 97, where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I mean, because that's when it gets to the point where you're like, you actually can't do anything. So cool. I guess I'll just
That's
hang
kind
out
of
at
a
the gym.
bum skis. Well, you come up here. This is probably one of the only places, one of maybe a handful of places that isn't going to burn down, or maybe a tsunami will take it. But we're doing
Knock
all right
on
up
wood,
here.
Heather. Don't
Knock on
speak
wood, I'll
that
do
into existence.
But I will say it is very hot today. It's like it's not normal, especially being right on the coast. You don't usually get these like boiling hot days, but it's warm up here. Yeah, it is the dog days of summer, Sarah Lane. What else is going on chez toi, ma chérie?
At chez moi, not a whole heck of a lot. Besides just sort of, I don't know. It's sort of don't want to make it seem like, oh, I'm having like such a terrible time, but like I feel like summer is limping along.
Yeah.
It would have been, and this has nothing to do with you, but I heard about your recent vacation. I was like, oh, that would be really fun. Yeah, I gotta figure that out, for
Mhm.
myself, sooner than later. Just kind of get out and see the world. But, but in the meantime, told you all that I've been going to this gym lately, and it's perfectly fine gym, and it's not a fancy gym; it's a functional gym,
Mhm.
which means that at any given time you see just a variety of people. Some people are clearly trying to get back in shape. Other people are like in really good shape where you're like, dang. I mean, you probably come here like five
A
times
lot
a
of people
day.
work out, like, every day, yeah, which
Yeah, or
seems is a lot.
or just it all depends on kind of what your regimen is,
Mhm.
and and I'm just there for fun, doing
Mhm.
doing doing my steps on the treadmill, or on the treadmill on the stairmaster. I hate the treadmill, and
So do I.
just doing my
Just doing
thing
your thing. Yeah.
doing my
Yeah.
thing. So anyway, I usually don't go there first thing in the morning because on a regular week of, work and stuff, my day is most impacted in the morning. I kind of wake up and I'm cranking until about 2 p.m. And then, not that like I'm off work at that point, but I have not live things. So I could go to the gym or go to the grocery store or yeah, that kind of stuff. Do little things. Go to the DMV if you have to once a year.
Mhm.
God. And so
Womp womp.
so this particular week, and anybody who listens to Daily Tech News Show, which I also co-host, knows that we're on Experiment Week this week, which means that we have recorded stuff ahead of time, and the kind of regular show is like taking a little bit of a beat, and
I thought that was a new, expression. I was like, "Wow,
taking
that's
a
kinda cool,
taking a
Sarah."
beak. Yeah, like the
Yeah, it's
rooster
like,
that used to
did you
live
hear it
next to
on, like,
me.
X or something? On
So
Threads?
so I have a little bit more like just for a few days, like a little bit more sway of like, oh, okay, what am I doing? When am I doing it? So I go to the gym first thing this morning. I have my coffee. I try to hydrate a little bit. I show up there at like, I don't know, 8. I mean, it wasn't like 6 a.m., but it was morning. And I always like drink too much water before I go because I want to be like, okay, I'm about to sweat and I want to like sweat out a
Mhm.
bunch of water. So I always have to pee when I first get there. So I go into the the locker room, bathroom, whatever area, and do my thing. And there's a woman in there who's like, she's wearing like a Hervé Leger dress, like
Mhm.
from like the night before.
Okay. Oh
And
god.
I was sort of like, whoa, okay, a very much clubbing attitude right now. But like, whatever. I mean, maybe she's like already worked out and is somehow wearing that today. Cool, fine. I don't care, But like, I was like, because I'm nosy, So I'm just sort of like, hey, how's it going? Good morning. She's like, good morning. She was real nice, and she's doing her makeup in there, and I'm like, all right, well, bye. And so I'm out on the floor for an hour, maybe a little bit more than that. And of
Mhm.
course, pounding water. So I go back into the bathroom when I'm done. And she's there, but she's in another outfit.
Huh. Like,
And
what
she's
kind of like a
like,
gym
and
outfit
it's
or like a
full
fancy
on
outfit?
like MAC makeup on the counter. This is
Oh,
a very
wow.
large bathroom. So, like, it wasn't like she was in my way at all.
Mhm.
But I was sort of like, wait a second. What is happening here?
Wow.
What is happening? I can maybe I could glean a guess that she came in wearing that first dress from last night, showered, belongs to the gym, so she's fully, capable of doing that. That's what you're
Uh-huh.
paying for. You're paying for a shower if you want it.
Sure.
And then changed and just still had not left by the time I came back in the bathroom. And like, it was it was full on makeup, like almost to the point where I was like, I would like to look at that compact. Like, wow, you have like really nice stuff. What is happening here? I never got the answer, Heather. I think it kind of speaks to a conversation we had a couple weeks ago on the show where it was like the whole idea of like getting ready or getting, clean at a gym is like your mileage may vary. And,
Mhm.
it's not for me, but yeah, I will if I have to. But I was like, dang, okay. Somebody is doing a photo shoot of some kind. And
That's
somehow
maybe
this
what it
gym is
is.
part of her doing that.
Yeah, or maybe she lives there. I don't know. Like, who knows?
No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think she lives there. I don't think
I
you
mean, that would be weird,
can,
right? I
but
mean,
yeah.
where do you sleep? Like on the dumbbells? But Sarah, I think it's also kind of funny because you're getting little peeks into these strangers' lives. And previously, you used to work out with your Oculus like in your garage in the woods. And so now you're like, all of a sudden going into the real world with like tons of people coming in and out of this space where you're working out. And it's like, it's hard not to wonder about people. It's hard not to sort of yeah, the observing aspect of being in a gym is kind of fun. It's like you can just really
Yeah.
wonder about these people and their lives. And
Well,
I mean, it
and
must be
that,
kind of fun,
yeah.
like
I
reality
mean,
show fun.
you mentioned Oculus, now called the MetaQuest, but I still do that in my garage. Not as much as I did before because again, now I have access to a gym that's really close and kind of fun, and I like just sort of being part of the rat race. But yeah, there are definitely people at the gym where like, and I am not a gym. I don't like to be social at the gym.
Hmm.
I walk in, earbuds in, listening to a podcast. Do not talk to me unless it's an emergency. But you also just, I mean, you're still around other people. You're trying to be polite,
Hmm.
you know? And it was just the morning thing where I was like, wow, this is early for that dress. And then you were like here the whole time and now you're wearing a different, I don't know. I don't know.
Very
I don't
interesting.
know. But you know what? As we are recording this on a Tuesday, I will say to you, no judgment. Uh, Maybe your life is actually pretty fun and it's cool to wear a cool dress early in the morning. It's not for me, but I love this for you.
Maybe it was an all night party. I mean, it's really hard to say. And you know what? I mean, you could compliment her on her dress and then be like, "Oh, did you just come from I don't know, maybe
Oh,
strike up
I
a
don't even want to
conversation. Could be a
know,
new friend."
Heather. I don't want to know. I'm just sort of like, morning. She's like, morning. And then I'm like, I like your makeup. And
And
that was
she's
the end of
like,
it.
"Okay, thanks, bye."
Okay,
Well,
thanks.
Sarah,
Bye.
speaking of party pants, well, party dresses and party pants, I know that I'm overdue for retiring my party pants. I've been home from my big trip for what's today, Tuesday, almost a week. It will be a week tomorrow. God, I mean, you're really right about time being a flat circle. I, God, I feel like I just got home. But I am, yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to put my big curl pants back on, and it's hard. They're not fitting as well as they did before. Um, I don't know. I think I really the impact of how much responsibility I left behind, and then being free from it for so long, and then coming back to it has been challenging. I'm not going to lie. And I also realized, so like, especially because of the trip that I went on, And as we age, I find, myself telling myself like YOLO, in the back of my mind about like so many things, big and small. I can't even think of an example, but,
Hmm.
gotta live it up now, while you can, because, you're getting older, you're in the midlife, you only have so many years and to just like have fun until you break a hip or whatever. And so do other people, like other people in my world, they'll say, like even someone the other day said something. I can't remember what it was in reference to, but I said like, "Oh, I want to do this," and then they're like, "Gosh, YOLO, you got to go for it." And I was like,
Mm.
"Yeah, man, totally." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like, so now I've got this like attitude, which I think is a decent attitude to really take the bull by its horns and like get as much out of life as you can, right? I mean, that's not a bad attitude. But the truth of the matter is that you can only YOLO so much.
Yeah.
I think you can overdo it. And I think, like anything good, you need to do it in moderation. I think even like really good positive stuff can be overdone. I love a good YOLO. I would do it every day if I could, but I just don't think it's realistic. But like, where do you draw the line? Like, where do you draw the line with, you know what? No, I can't YOLO right now. I have responsibilities. I need to be an adult. I need to have boring days, boring work filled days because I have to get the job done. That's been sort of challenging for me, like getting back to the norm, getting back to the mundane. And
I think that's kind of what life is like.
it is. It is. It's like what I said earlier,
I
the
mean,
time being a
unless
flat
you're some
circle.
sort of like beautiful unicorn or otherwise, I don't know, have a trust fund, it's like you have to do that.
You do. And I think it's that we talk about this a lot on the show. Like it's that time being a flat circle concept of like everything that we do, we're going to be doing it over and over and over and over again forever. It's like there's this rhythm, this sort of repetitiveness to like regular life that I think was really nice to escape, into the YOLO of it all. But I'm back. I'm going to try to be a big girl for a little while, get some work done. It's hard though. It's harder than I expected. It's hard to keep that vacation vibe in a bottle, like you want to try to ride that wave as long as you can when you come home from a vacation, but it doesn't last very long. So if y'all have any comments about this, please email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. Maybe you have some words of encouragement to get me to be excited about being back into the work world. I'm sure I'll adapt. It's just going to take a few more days. I think I'll be fine. We're coming upon a weekend of wedding parties for a wedding I'm going to, and I can maybe get a little YOLO out, just peter it out a little bit, and then you know finally kind of sink into like reality.
I think there's a lot of, I know YOLO is like a, ha ha internet
Yeah,
term.
it is.
But it really does speak to, I think, a lot of things that many of us grapple with. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
do I really want to do that? Like, maybe I never have a chance to do that again. You only live once,
Yep.
that sort of thing. And that sometimes can drive, I think, at least for me, only speaking for
Mm-hmm.
myself, that
Mm-hmm.
can drive decisions that I didn't even really want to do. I just
Yeah,
felt pressure to do
that's a
it.
good point. Totally. Where you're like, oh, I have to do it now or I'm never going to do it. And then you
Right.
do
Like
it.
maybe
It
this
wasn't
is the
exactly
last
what you wanted to do.
chance.
Yeah.
Or maybe,
So true.
it's like, this time, this moment, this is it. And I I think sometimes that is true. That is
I
true.
totally agree.
But there are other times where you're like, yeah, you go like, I don't really want to, go to XYZ. And someone goes, well, YOLO. And you go, well, I know, but like, I don't want to. You
Mhm.
know, like you gotta
I know what
like,
you mean.
you gotta listen to that inner Heather. Heather.
It can be hard to do. It's like
Yeah.
we contradict ourselves because
Yeah.
half the time you're like, "Oh, I wanna do this in theory," but, like, how to sort of separate, like, the theory side of your mind and your heart with, like, the reality of, like, it can be really hard because I think in some ways, my trip was very lofty. It was very ambitious, and I think if, I may not have done such a big trip, that may not have been something that I would have done on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. We're complicated creatures, Sarah Lane, and
Yeah, we are.
it's going to take a whole lifetime to just unpack it all.
Well, speaking of unpacking, I know you're back home. Hopefully you've unpacked. Also, sorry about that.
Mostly.
Unpacking is
Yeah.
the worst. I was
Yeah.
actually having a conversation with somebody today she's moving cross country or planning
Mhm.
to, and she's sort of like, hey, putting the feelers out, this is my budget, this is where I would, like to live, on the West Coast. She's coming from the East Coast.
Oh, got it.
And like, one bedroom, one bathroom, totally fine, but like have to have a dishwasher. Have to what was the other thing she needed to have to have AC. Okay.
Have a what? What was this second
AC,
thing? Oh,
air
AC.
conditioning.
Hmm.
Where I'm like, well, AC, depending on where you are in the West Coast, like maybe would
Hmm.
be a deal breaker if you didn't have it. But like a dishwasher, listen, trust me, I love a good dishwasher.
Hmm.
I also, in my previous apartment, did not have a dishwasher. And I lived there for 3.5 years.
Hmm.
And when you live alone, and even if you have like, you know, guests, I mean, unless I'm throwing a party, it's not that hard to just like
Yeah.
clean up some dishes. And in
Yeah.
fact, it's actually better because you clean them and then you put them on the rack and then they're done. And you don't have to unload a fucking dishwasher several days later. Like, unloading dishwashers is right up there with me with like putting away clean laundry.
See,
I'm like,
I
it's
would
already
rather
clean.
I know. No, 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 you're right. It's funny because I think that my boyfriend doesn't like unloading, but he doesn't mind washing dishes. So we are a match made in heaven. Because I would prefer to unload the clean dishes. I have a funny thing about I don't like it when my hands are dirty or greasy. And like when I have to load the dishwasher, inevitably you're going to get oil and food and grease like on your hands. So for me, it's a great deal. Not that I never do dishes because I do, or never load the dishwasher because I do, but I think you get used to it. I think you just adapt and moving into I mean, you've had dishwashers in previous places and you get used to it and then you get
Yeah.
dependent on it.
But I never really did. I never got dependent on it. Listen, the dishwasher is a luxury that I would never say no to. Tr-
Uh-huh.
Trust me on that one.
Uh-huh.
But not having it is like, I'm like, that's fine. I mean, I basically only use 2 bowls a day anyway. If
Mhm.
I cook food, then I just clean the pots and pans and then I dry them on the drying rack. Like, it's not that hard. If you got a family, even if are like we cook from home more often than the average person, and maybe there's a
Mhm.
couple of us, maybe there's kids,
Mhm.
totally understand that that is not sustainable. But for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, it's not like the end of the world if I don't have a
Mm-mm.
dishwasher.
No.
But yeah, so I wanted to tell you, Heather, speaking of, areas in the world, weather in the world, I thought that this next story might actually, bring some comfort to you, especially because I know that you just mentioned the lightning storm, which I wish we would have had here, but you have a little bit more weather
Mhm.
than I might, or someone might be who's a little more in the like southwest area of
Yeah.
California. So, it is called the Xfinity Storm Ready Wi-Fi. So it's Wi-Fi 6
Hmm.
capable. It's a device. It's a Wi-Fi device that is Xfinity 10G on the 10G network, doubling as a
Mhm.
Wi-Fi extender,
Hmm.
which in the event that you might have a storm that wipes out power, for example, that doubles as a cellular option for,
Okay.
if you're in a jam. So it's
I love
called
that.
Xfinity Storm Ready Wi-Fi.
So can
Um,
any service, like you could just buy this and then attach it to any service that you might have, or do you have to be under Comcast provide as a provider?
it is a Comcast thing.
Oh,
It
I
is a
don't we don't have
Comcast
Comcast.
thing. And so your mileage may vary based on where you are.
Mhm.
What it is for $252. Why is it 52? I don't know. Um, or $7 a month for 36 months. If for some reason you want to finance it, all good. Gives you, some options. But the idea is if you were to break down that $250,
Mhm.
$7 a month for the feeling that, if something catastrophic were to happen, you have a backup.
I
Now,
love that.
there are other options, certainly, and you know this. I know this. Having recently lived somewhere where the Wi-Fi went out all the time due
Mhm.
to storms or fires or both, or a tree
Mhm.
that came down, or everything. I think this is kind of great. Now, when I say great, I also feel like, gosh, this is a product that exists now because everyone is experiencing horrible climate issues. So, in that sense, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But if it is a product that works for you, depending on where you are in the world, I say look it up.
Yeah.
See if it might be worth your while.
Well, it's funny that you bring this up because a few shows back, or this was, I guess, right before I left, we did get our internet revamped. We had a Google Mesh system that just had some old hardware. It wasn't old; it just was out of date. I mean, it was just there was an updated version that was just better. Because I was looking into Starlink. I think I mentioned on the show, like I was researching Starlink when I was doing the movie last year because we were going to be so deep in the woods and so out of any range, even with walkie talkies. There were a lot of locations that were really screwed because we had like a base camp that was just too far from where the set was going to be, and you couldn't use walkies. Middle of nowhere, absolutely no cell service. So we ended up buying a couple satellite phones, which are kind of they're kind of clunky, and they worked here and there, but they didn't really cut the mustard. The Starlink would have been perfect, but at the time, some disaster was happening in the world, I believe somewhere in Florida, and everyone had rented all of them all across the globe. So there were none left to buy or to rent at the time. But in the since then, I've been really keen on it. I've talked to a friend who has one up here because yeah, we live at the edge of the earth. I mean, literally. By the way, we had a 4.0, maybe it was a little under 4.0 earthquake the other morning. It was a little scary. I'm not going to lie.
Hmm.
Felt the rumble, and just all of the potential disasters, and the Starlink isn't a cheap option, but as I was looking into getting one, we kind of just decided to go with the upgraded system, the Google Mesh system, which I'm trying to remember what exactly it's called, but it's great. It totally, supposedly, it's somewhat on par with the Starlink, that it helps, that it can withstand more weather. And so I can report back on that, talk to my boyfriend and get the deets. But yeah, this type of thing is definitely on my radar. I'm gonna get a little nervous as like November approaches, especially if we have a winter like we did last year. But anyway, so I thought this could be like a fun thing for you and I to talk about on today's show, Sarah Lane. Just switching gears a little bit, I
All right, let's
um,
do it.
so as we all know, I mean, we all have all kinds of friends these days. You know, with the internet age, I mean, we've got like the besties from way back when, the ones you actually hang out with in real life. You've got the others who you might FaceTime with regularly, or maybe you chat regularly on the phone. You've got your regulars, and then you've got your internet friends, your social media peeps, and your TikTok threads, X followers, whoever, whatever social media you're into. Those are all platforms that I don't really pay attention to anymore. Um, Other than Instagram, really, I would say that the only social media platform where I feel like I have a crew of people that range from like, friends I've had for a long time in real life that I've done, that are close to me. And then there's like kind of more the acquaintances. Maybe I've worked with them, but we still communicate. And then just other people that we've touched each other's lives, and we just kind of keep in touch, and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I like kind of being on Instagram as sort of my one and only. I like having something. I'm not as prolific as you are, Sarah, on the social media platforms, but I think I'm a little old school. Maybe I want to harken back to the old days, a simpler time, an image with a short caption, no caption even. I don't know, let the photo speak for itself, even if the photo makes no sense. Anyway, I kind of have, I guess that's what I'm saying is that's the one social media platform that I am fairly prolific on, not just posting because I'm not a very prolific poster, but I do communicate with people on there, a lot of direct messages and commentary and whatnot. And then there's those people who, and I'm not going to blow up this person's spot, but and it's a mutual follow relationship. This isn't spam or anything. This is like a person that I really like. Like we're actually friends. We became friends IRL way back when, and we have
Mm-hmm.
history and we're friends. Um, but your relationship has been distilled down to like, an online relationship because they live in another state or they live in another country or whatever it is. And basically, the only thing you really get from this relationship is getting DM'd like reels that are like not very funny. And it's like daily. I'm talking like daily reels that are like,
Now, do you
they're
think that
funny
this
here and there.
person is. Sorry, my microphone just fell into my boob. You're welcome, everybody. It was just like, I
It
love
knows what it wants.
you. Yeah, it does. Maybe this person is doing that to a bunch of people, so it's not like super
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah,
But even
totally.
so, yeah, I would also just be like, I don't need this.
Well, it's funny because it's like I do think he's actually kind of funny, but like some of his reels are just kind of like I don't get it. Like I don't get it. And I like a funny reel like the next gal. Trust me, I love a good animal reel. Um, but when they're kind of I don't know, and you're forced to respond, and they see if you saw it, and it's like
I know.
I
Like
don't
once
like
you're
being
like,
fake.
I saw it, now I have to like
I have to
say
say something, and then if I
no.
say it's funny, but it really wasn't, then I feel like I'm lying to myself. I ain't got time for that, Sarah Lane.
No. There have been so many times where I'm like, I just respond like, lol.
Yeah, like no punctuation.
Like just like I'm trying not to be rude,
Yeah,
but like I don't really have anything to talk to you about right
that's
now.
the thing. Like I
No.
don't, and I try to like understand why that particular reel was sent. Um, and so I could actually
They're like,
give
we
something
really
back.
wanted you to see a tiger kissing a zebra,
And
Heather.
we want to know how it made
We
you
want to
feel.
know how it made you feel. Please respond besides something other than law.
Well, so okay, so this brings up and this is sort of like, what would you categorize this type of thing? It's not ethical. It's not like an ethical quandary, but it's something where you have someone in your life. that you can't speak the truth to because it might hurt feelings. And I mean, it's something, right? It's something you'd maybe write, Dear Abby, my boyfriend, is, doesn't do laundry often enough and is smelly or whatever. He's really not. He's good at laundry, but you know what I'm saying here. But like, okay, so what
I
if
feel like
what if
that's every woman
someone
ever, but okay. Mhm.
what if there's someone like, for example, that has, I don't know, wears a bad perfume, but like you know, a scent is very
Oh,
personal.
yeah.
But if you don't like it, that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean you have any right to not like it because it's a scent that they're enjoying. And like, how do you say that it kind of rubs you wrong? Like, it's a
100%.
really tough thing.
It is a tough thing. I have spoken on the show before that I dislike bacon. Don't want to eat it. Won't eat it. I mean, I'm probably capable of
What
physically
about
eating
turkey
it.
bacon?
Turkey bacon, I don't have a problem with. It's
Same.
bacon bacon.
Yeah.
But I also like don't want anything that looks like bacon, so I just like don't worry about it. Sometimes let's say if I don't know, let's say a few of us are sort of like, let's get like breakfast sandwiches. What does everybody want? Like I
Uh-huh.
don't have a problem like picking up sandwiches that have bacon in them. I just don't want bacon in my own sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the end of the world.
No,
We
it's
all
not.
we all eat our own things, right?
Yeah.
I ate artichoke pizza for dinner last night. Not
That sounds
everybody
really
wants
good.
that.
No.
It's
A lot
fine.
of people
More
don't like artichokes. I will say though, I think
more for me.
it's for me because I feel the same way about bacon. It sticks to the walls, it's greasy, and it has the fat that bubbles on in the pan, and it bothers me, and it gets in your hair. It's a scent that, look, I don't mind a passing scent. I do have a strong sense of smell, so I do smell more than the regular Joe. But
You do.
if it's something
You're a real
very strong sense,
bloodhound.
I'm a real bloodhound,
Uh-huh.
seriously. But if it's something that is like, yeah, in my house, and you can smell it in your hair after or on your clothes, I like to crack a window or,
I also
put a fan
think
on or
there
something.
there are reasons where, and sorry if anyone listening to this is eating right now and is triggered. Sorry. I
Because
I
most people like
I
bacon,
really am
and we
sorry.
understand that.
Yeah. I remember. So, you know how sometimes, people will say like, I got so drunk on tequila once. It was so bad. I never can have it again. And you go,
Yes.
yeah, I get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Hmm.
right. Unhealthy connotation type thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't really have that. I mean, tequila, I drink like once a year, but like, I don't have a problem with it. Bacon, though. I have been I remember going to, and Heather, you'll know where I'm talking about. It was that Greasy Spoon right across from Fly Bar on
Oh,
the
yeah.
Visadero. I don't even
Yeah,
remember the name of
totally.
it. It was called
Yeah, it was
like
like,
The
yeah,
Diner or
it was like
something.
Sam's or something.
It
I
was
don't
a
know.
greasy spoon,
Yeah.
and
I
I
think it's still
remember
there.
going in there one morning, and listen, I was early 20s. Things
Mhm.
were very different back then. And I remember going in there, and I had like, like the five people who like also crashed at the same house that I crashed at. And we're like, let's get breakfast. And, there was bacon. And I remember like, I said to everybody, I'm like, I need to go outside. And they were like, oh my gosh, are you ill? And I'm like, I can't smell this. I'm sorry. I can't. Can you like get me like a veggie omelet and bring it out to me, and I'll just like be on the corner. I
And it's a
cannot be in
weird
here.
thing. People think it's weird.
Yeah, and I feel like from that time, that was the first time I ever was like, you know what? There's certain smells that are not gonna agree. And to
But
this
it's
day, like when I smell bacon, I'm like, ugh, if it's in like a sandwich, like who cares,
mhm.
But like if someone's like cooking bacon, like as like a yay fun thing, for the whole house, I'm like, I have to leave. I hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I feel the same way about like frying a steak. Not that that ever happens really in my house, but like I've been in places. In
Fry?
fact,
Do people fry
you
steaks? I guess you would. I
yeah,
don't
no,
really
or
know
like
anything
you I
about
don't know
red
if it's
meat.
frying, but like
Yeah.
you're kind of I've seen people like on a stovetop, like in a
Sure.
frying pan. You might
Right.
do
Yeah.
that with a big
Yeah.
piece of beef.
That's
But
you would do that with
here's the
chicken
thing
or
though.
fish or beef or whatever.
There's
Yeah.
got to be a term for this because it's kind of like, okay, you have a strong feeling. You don't like the smell of bacon, and so you weird everybody else out by leaving the restaurant, and nobody understands, and they're like, "Whoa, it's intense." Like they have an intense feeling about this. But it's
Well, the
unfortunate
whole
because
thing
it's
too
like,
with I remember that, where they were like, "Oh, is Sarah like really hungover? Like, is she gonna be sick?" I'm like, "I'm gonna be sick if I stay in this restaurant. I'm kind of fine otherwise. I'm hungry. I just can't smell that armpit smell. I can't do it."
well, I think that there should be some kind of, I don't know, because I feel bad even admitting that I don't like certain smells, that they bother me. It's like you should be able to feel these feelings and not feel bad about it, is my point. And how does one in navigating the world, um, feel like they're not going to be ostracized because they don't like a certain smell of something, you know?
Yeah, I feel like there are definitely times where, listen, sometimes people are extra, myself included.
Hmm.
Totally. But at the same time, it's like, I do sort of get like, sometimes someone will look at me and be like, is it really that bad? And I'm like, I mean, I'm not dying, but like, yeah, kind of. Like I'm like not having fun right now. By the way, it's Eddie's Cafe, Heather. Eddie's
Eddie,
Cafe.
Sam's. I was close. I was
You were, you
close.
were, you were. I looked it up while we
I
were talking
win.
about it. And by the way,
Awesome.
Eddie's Cafe, if you're ever in the San Francisco neighborhood, and you happen to be in sort of the Lower Haight Nopa area, great cafe. I've eaten there plenty of times. It was just that one day where I was like, bacon is not for me, and I've
I
never
bet the
gone
bacon there
back.
is really good. Like legit. So if you like bacon, head on
Yeah,
down. Head on
or
down to
I don't
Eddie's.
know, eggs. I
Pancakes,
mean,
some
I used to go to
flapjacks.
Kate's Kitchen in the Lower Haight like once a week. They had bacon there.
That
It
was
never
fun.
really bothered me. Maybe it all
Ah, the
has to do with the
heyday of San
pan
Francisco.
situation.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know, Sarah. It's a cross to bear. The Bloodhound knows. Anywho, I'd like to hear from y'all out there. Do you have and this is referring to kind of like the reel thing where someone's sending you reels, or maybe they're doing something on social media that is maybe slightly annoying or unsexy or whatever it is. Email us, hi@havesuchagoodday.com. We'd love to hear from you.
We really would.
And I'm back
Heather's back at it.
at
Um,
it. I got my big girl pants on and I'm ready to
Heather
chat
got
with
her groove
y'all.
back.
I got my
God,
groove back.
what a lady way to put it. But you did. We're glad to have you back. Glad you're back
Thanks.
safe. I know re-entry is a little tough,
Yeah.
but such is life. You had a super fun hot
Very
girl
lucky.
summer.
I'm very, very hot girl summer. Exactly. That I totally forgot about that term. That's exactly what I had. Like 100%. I
Yeah.
really did. And I'm
Yeah.
really,
I
really,
mean,
really grateful.
we should all be so lucky. Well, listen, everybody, just a reminder that we are directly supported by our patrons. Thank you to all of our patrons who have stuck with us for 202 episodes. Oh my gosh,
Sarah
Heather
Lane.
Palindrome. Gosh, we haven't even talked about that
Oh,
until this very moment.
what is wrong with us? Sarah Lane. You
I
let this one
wanted.
pass.
This is my Velociraptor thing. You
It
like
comes
it?
out when it's a palindrome. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
yeah. Next time we have a palindrome at, well, it would be 212. I'll do my Brontosaurus.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
let's hear it now. Or you do need to work on it. Oh, I think it needs to be louder than that. All right, you work on that, and then you
Heather's like, why don't you workshop this? And we'll just revisit it
we'll
in
circle back. We'll
11
circle back to
episodes from
the
today.
brontosaurus. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But reminder that we would love more patrons. If you're listening to the show and you enjoy the show and you hear ads and you say, love the show, wish there weren't ads, Patreon is the way to do it. You get an ad-free version of the show. Patreon.com/have such a good day is where to find out more about that.
What's that voice, Sarah?
I don't know, Heather. I don't know.
A bit southern, maybe like a little bit of a southern twang. Anyway, on that note, we're fading out here, y'all. But we will see you very soon, in about a week. And in the meantime, stay cool, stay sexy, and I will stay Heather.
And I will stay Sarah, also very sexy.
Very, 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 very. Have such a good day.
A good day.
Late.